So are we on right now? Hey, Gates. If we're on, we would like to welcome everybody to the our virtual international championship, the evening session. You're sitting with the two compadas that we're going to sit there and commentate a little bit on it. You're going to get a little bit in Italian. You're going to get a little bit in English.
I think you're going to be entertained so much you're not going to watch the dancing. You're going to watch Bruno talking.
Yeah, right.
I believe we're going to be starting in just a few minutes. But in the meantime...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We want to welcome you to the Virtual International Championship, to our American Smooth Open Bronze Division. We'd like to introduce our judges for you this evening. Let's give it up for Elizabeth Joy, Marilyn Benitez, and Joe Travato. We are going to be starting with Heat 142, judges. Heat 142, starting with our Intermediate Bronze Open Waltz. We have 3 events on the floor in our first event, a 3-couple final. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 29. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. And from Syracuse, couple 53. And our second event, 1 couple, couple 111 from Pleasant Prairie. And our final event, from Pickering, couple 51. Find your places for Heat 142 for the waltz.
So tell me, Gates, what is the what's the destination of waltz? What what is it? I mean, most people think, okay, or they watch a waltz and they go, okay, is that an fogey dance? Or so what is your take on waltz? What do you think it's? What do
I
you think?
think the most beautiful thing about waltz is that you can really see the balance and control of people when they're moving around the floor. And then it just also shows what a beautiful frame the couple could have, but mostly the balance and control that someone has.
And what are your thoughts like on if you were to put that in a category? Yeah, if you were to put that in a category, what would you say it would be more of a romantic dance? Wouldn't you say? It's love, right? Most of the music is written really about love. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah.
Would you say it's like the smooth portion of like boleros, the rhythm section of love, but waltz would be kind of the same.
We're now moving to Heat
Yeah, well,
143.
it is the Prince and Cinderella dance.
Yeah.
And our first event from Oak Creek, couple 31. And our second event, we have a 3-couple final from Northport, couple 36. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. And from Syracuse, couple 53. And from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111. And in our final event, from Pickerton, couple 51. This is Heat 143. Your places for the tango.
Tango is one of my favorite dances. It really shows strength and the staccato-ness of the dances. I love to see how that man leads that woman. It is truly one of my favorite dances.
So if you were to put that, if you were to put tango in like a relationship form, right? If you were to say, what would be this part of a relationship?
Well,
would it be like an argument between a man and a woman?
Just like you did.
It's like I did. Dude, I was leading you into that. So it would be more of the argument part of the
and
romance
who
between
would
a man.
win, who wins.
Yeah. So Pleasant Prairie, right? Pleasant Prairie. Now I was asking you earlier what Pleasant Prairie was. Now that's at the bottom portion of Wisconsin.
It's right before you get to the Illinois border.
Yeah.
It's the studio's been around about 5-6 years. They're one of the top schools in the country. I
know that. That's why I was asking. Because for some reason, I thought Pleasant Prairie was like somewhere west.
Tango.
But
No.
I grew up in Wisconsin.
We're now moving to Heat 144, dancing the Foxtrot. 6 couples and 5 events. And our first event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111. And our second event, 2-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. From Syracuse, couple 53. And our third event from Mequon, couple 65. And our fourth event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And in our final event from Pickerington, couple 51. This is Heat 144 for the Foxtrot.
If you're coming up from the Illinois border, Pleasant Prairie is first, And then Oak Creek, which is a newer school, a couple of years, that's the next school into
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
You know, I grew up in Wisconsin, and for some reason I never heard of Pleasant Prairie. And you know, the only time I've heard of Pleasant Prairie is like at the competitions, or on the reports. You know that they're doing so well, and you know then I have to put the two and two together. That they're actually in your region,
Yep.
and they're one of the top schools in the country. You know.
Isn't it some of the studios have such beautiful floors?
Yeah, and I think they make sure that well, you know, it's funny because at the end of the year, they usually linseed oil that because they've been using it all year, and so it's the beginning of the year right now, and they you know they strip it and they and that's why they all look so shiny.
Yeah, beautiful. Syracuse and Pinkerton.
Pinkerton, where is that? Is that in New Jersey or
No,
Ohio?
it's in Ohio.
Foxtrot.
It's in Ohio.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 145, dancing the Viennese Waltz. 7 couples dancing in 6 events. In our first event, a 2-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37, and from Syracuse, couple 53. And our second event from Mequon, couple 65. And our third event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And our fourth event from Pickerington, couple 51. And our next event from Wyckoff, couple 12. And in our final event from Powell, couple 125. Find your places, your dance, the Viennese Waltz.
Yeah, number 12, Wyckoff, the studio from Wyckoff. This young lady and her instructor, they've been dancing all day, and
Have
they've
they?
been doing great. And seeing, if you notice, what they did is they partitioned their studio and they're dancing on a small area, and she looks like she's moving all over the place. So that just goes to show that it's her that's actually look at that. That's probably a 20 by 10 floor, and she's you know, she's been going at it since this morning, and she's been doing great. And from what I understand from earlier judging, she's been winning a lot of things too. Now, see that couple from Powell? That's an amateur couple, and that's mostly probably a husband and wife that take lessons together.
Have you ever been in the Powell studio?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's beautiful. They have that cozy
Let's hear it
fireplace.
for the Viennese Waltz. And thank you, competitors. We're now moving to Heat 146, dancing the waltz. 4 couples and 2 events. In our first event, a 3-couple final. From Venice, couple 20. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 29. From Powell, couple 67. And our final event from Powell, couple 124. This is Heat 146, your dance and waltz.
Yeah.
See, now the couple from Powell.
They might be doing one of their open waltzes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So open, when you say, you know, open waltz, what would be the difference between an open waltz and a closed waltz?
well, in the Furniture Studios, you know that we have a curriculum, and all the patterns are part of the curriculum. So if you're dancing at a bronze level, you would be doing the bronze level. And then if you're doing an open routine, you would add some of the exhibition elements or
yeah.
the theatrical elements in your routines. And then you could also open up from dance position.
Yeah, and they're more choreographed towards for them
Correct.
personally. Yeah.
Waltz. And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 147, dancing the tango. 7 couples and from Prairie, couple 60. And in our final event from Pickerington, couple your places and tango.
So Bruno, you've been in a lot of the schools coaching. Have you been preparing people for this virtual competition?
Actually, yeah, I was just at you know, Lakewood Ranch. I was just there last week, and coached a lot of these couples that are dancing right now, and
And what do you think the benefits of doing the virtual competition is?
well, you know, I mean, the main benefit is really actually you get to dance in the surroundings that you know, such as your studio.
Yeah.
and you get to compete. So you don't really leave your
And you're competing against people.
surroundings. Which when you go to a competition, you're on a different floor, the lights, the crowd, the judges. This here, where you're going. And so the benefit of this is that you're also not smashing into one couple in the.
This is heat 149. Your places for the Viennese Waltz.
The irony of it is that the thing is too is that we see most of these people at our competitions live, but you're seeing them on TV, and actually TV hides little blemishes too, meaning a little footwork that might have not went perfect and stuff like that. So the actual
in their own environment,
right,
and you get to see a whole different picture on how they're more comfortable in the surroundings
right
in that room.
Right.
So
yes, because they do a turn. The mirror's here to the left. That's what they see. When they go to a competition, sometimes they do a turn. That mirror's not there. They just kind of get a little discombobulated.
Do you think we're on?
Yeah, we are.
And what's really exciting in that the
Event, a 2-couple final from Venice, couple 20, and from Powell, couple 67. And our 4th event from Venice, couple 106. And in our final event from Pleasant Prairie, couple.
They like I said, before, if you do a turn, you know that mirror's there, the front desk is there, and so all of a sudden you don't become disoriented. And sometimes, a lot of times when they're dancing competition, they do. That's why they practice there. Now we're not saying that this beats going to a competition live, not at all. We're saying this is really a great option for you to prepare for your other competitions.
Yep, especially if you're going to one of the nationals
Yeah.
or one of the interregional competitions coming up. We do have a list of different competitions that are coming up.
Well, the one that's coming up next, the nearest one, is in Tucson, Arizona, I believe, right?
The Desert Dance Classic.
Yeah, that's the one. Then after that, in March, is the one in Ohio.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into heat 151, dancing the tango. And our first event we have from Pleasant Prairie, couple
It's
60,
Arizona,
our second event
and
from
then it comes to
Syracuse,
the nationals.
couple 53. And our third event, a 2-couple final from Venice, couple 20, and from Powell, couple 67. And from Venice, couple 106. And in our final event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111. Find your places for heat 151 for the tango.
A fun interregional this year is the one on the Destination. It's on a cruise ship, so I hear a lot of people are going to it. It seems very exciting.
Yeah, that goes out of Florida, that's going to be exciting. It's around, and for all the cold states, this is something that's right in February, isn't it?
It's in April.
It's in April, so it's
April
still kind of
24th.
cool somewhere up north. It's a good destination to go to. Let me ask you, so Powell, number 67. Now, this lady,
You did a tango routine.
yeah,
and
she
I
did
felt
a
like I
paso
was
doble,
insane.
a bolero routine. She did a
Yep.
bolero routine too.
And then
The
she
tango. We're now moving into heat 152, dancing the foxtrot. And our first event, 1 couple from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And our second event, 1 couple from Syracuse, couple 53. And our third event, a 2-couple final from Venice, couple 20, and from Powell, couple 67. And our fourth event, 1 couple from Venice, couple 106. And our next event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111. And in our final event from Pickerington, couple 51. This is heat 152. Your places for the foxtrot.
And we were talking about number 67. She did a Hello Dolly number last
with
night.
four
Four men.
gentlemen, with
Yeah.
4 people in
It
it.
was awesome.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing too, is that so if you think about it now, someone of her age could look at this and go, "Oh my God, I can never do that. She's got to be a savant or something." And it's really not. She probably felt the same exact way
In the beginning.
in the beginning, and now she's doing things that that you can't even imagine.
Yep. And you know what I'm excited about too? That even though these people are in their studios and they're dancing virtually with people around the country, but some of the studios actually have people there and cheering everybody on, and they're making a whole party out of it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving to Heat 153, dancing the Viennese Waltz. And our first event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And our second event from Syracuse, couple 53. And our third event, a two-couple final from Venice, couple 20. And from Powell, couple 67. And our final event from Venice, couple 106. This is Heat 153 for the Viennese Waltz.
Viennese Waltz, I love the Viennese Waltz.
Yeah, and Viennese Waltz, you know, obviously is that is the one of the dances that absolutely it's extended from the minuets. You know, the minuets way back in the turn of the century, and of course Vienna. You know, the Viennese Waltz. So it's in the waltz family, and it's a little bit faster. But music is beautifully written to that. You know, even contemporary music, and of course there's Viennese waltz music that gets written strictly for Viennese waltz. Yeah. You know, usually Viennese waltz can be danced to a waltz timing, which is 1, 2, 3. That's fast instead of slow. But there's also music that's written strictly for that dance. Yeah.
Very nice. Everybody's dancing so well.
Thank you,
I don't even know who to look at first.
We're now moving into Heat 154, dancing the waltz. And our first event from Pickerington, couple 51. And our second event from Powell, couple 124. Find your places for Heat 154. And waltz.
So I wanted to kind of bring up too is that, okay, so most music, when people go out and dance, they really don't understand, you know, okay, I hear a song, I'd like to dance to it, but I don't know what to do to it. Well, there's only two types of music that's written, either 2/4 timing or waltz timing. That's it. Waltz timing has 3 beats that you count, and 2/4 timing, you count to 4, and then changes phrase. So basically, with waltz, you count 3 beats of music, changes phrase, and counts 3 beats more. In 2/4 timing, which is foxtrot, tango, rumba, what you do is you count to 4 beats and it changes phrase. It's the same. So there's only 2 kinds. So there's 3 beats, and it's called waltz timing.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 155, dancing the Argentine Tango. We have 2 couples on the floor and 2 events. And our first event from Venice, couple 106, and our second event from Wyckoff, couple 12. Your places for the Argentine Tango.
This is a fun dance too.
Yeah. Well, Argentine tango, you know, there's 2 types of tango. There's Argentine tango, which is authentic tango, and then there's tango, which is more of a folk dance that actually started in the same place in Argentina. The difference with Argentine tango and regular tango is the Argentine tango, it tells more of a story through movement, and it's more romantic. You know, the regular tango is more of, it doesn't really tell much of a story, just teaches movement, but it's more of an anger. It's more of a fight. Yeah, that's right. You know, and I compare Argentine tango to actually to waltz.
Competitors. Yeah. We're now moving into Heat 156 for the waltz. We have 3 couples and 3 events. And our first event from Mequon, couple 65. And our second event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And then our third and final event from Powell, couple 123. This is Heat 156 for the waltz.
So where's that Mequon? That's also in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Now, do you see they're obviously doing an open waltz?
Yep. They're all doing open waltz,
Yeah.
except
Now-
for maybe Pleasant Prairie.
Right. Now I want us to look at the movement and the flight that couple from Mequon, couple 60 what is that, 65 that they have. Look at that. I mean, that looks almost athletic. It's not as much of a social. It's more athletic.
Some of these people work so hard in the studios.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so nice that we do have these virtual competitions, because anybody can come in.
Thank you, competitors. We're now moving to Heat 157, dancing the tango.
Website.
4 couples, 4 events. And our first event from Oak Creek, couple 31. And our second event from Mequon, couple 65. And our third event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And then our final event from Powell, couple 124. This is Heat 157. Your places for the tango.
Some of our viewers, if you want your friends or family members to come on in, just send them the link to the Dance Sport Dynamics, and they could actually come in for free. Well, Noelle L'Esperance from Mequon, she competes at a lot of our interregional competitions and national competitions.
Well, you can see. I mean, you can see
She's
that
doing quite
this is something that she takes serious.
And even 124, the teacher, it's so nice. I've seen her grow so much in her teaching ability.
Yeah, she has. She
and
has.
What she's doing
Isn't
amazing.
her mom?
Thank
Is
you,
her mom the owner of the
Yep.
We're now
studio?
moving to Heat
Yeah.
158,
Pam.
dancing
Pam,
And
the
that's
her
right.
student right there, he's
Yeah.
doing phenomenal
We have
too.
4
And
events
he
on the
goes to a
floor.
lot
Our
of
first
competitions,
event
too.
from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111, and our second event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60, and our third event from Venice, couple 20, and our final event from Venice, couple 106. Your places for the
I have to bring up again, all the studios, the Fred Astaire Dance Studios, are so well decorated
Oh, well-kept.
well kept. It's not. I've been in some studios in my time that they're dirty, and it's just amazing how beautiful the studios are. So I have to congratulate all our Fred
Yeah,
Astaire
and
studios.
I mean, not on us being biased, but we've been to a lot of studios that are not Fred Astaire, that are just rooms with a floor. These are real dance studios, and we're not saying that because we're part of this company, but we're very, very proud of how the studios look. I mean, the space, how big they are, and things, because the main thing is the floors. Look at the floors.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
And most of these floors are floating too. 99.9% of these floors are floating, so that way they're sitting high enough where when you're dancing on them all day, you're not hurting
Thank
yourself,
you,
you're not hurting your
competitors.
knees.
We're now moving into
There's a
Heat
bounce to the floor.
159,
Yeah.
dancing the tango. We have 5 events on the floor, and our first event from Powell, couple 123, and our second event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111, and our third event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60, and our fourth event from Venice, couple 20, and then our final event from Venice, couple 106. Your places for Heat 159, the tango.
Tad is a master of ceremonies in many, many competitions across the country. And Elizabeth judges a lot of the competitions too. Then you have Marilyn Benitez. She's a United States finalist. She's a Fred Astaire champion.
She's an examiner.
She's an examiner. She's one of the top examiners in our company. She has a lot of accolades. And then you have Joe Chirato. He is a rhythm finalist. He's our Fred Astaire champion. He's on our dance board. And
thank you, competitors. We're now going to be moving into Heat 160 for the Foxtrot. We have 5 couples dancing in 5 events, and our first event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60, and our second event from Venice, couple 20, and our third event from Venice, couple 106, and our fourth event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 111, and in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. Find your places for Heat 160 for the Foxtrot.
So yeah, and Joe's
He runs one of the top studios in the
country.
country.
He's a great
For Walton
choreographer.
Beach. As a matter
Yeah.
of fact, number 61, that's the from Walton Beach studio. I love, and back there where there's the gold and red curtain, there's a big stage, and I love the way he decorated his studio. He's one of the top studios in this competition, participating with students. It's just amazing on how.
So let me ask you. So he's judging. He's judging. You know, some of the obviously his clients. How would you say that's fair? I mean, how would you? Do they take some kind of oath when they're a judge that they have to judge to a certain point? Because I believe that's what it is, right?
Well, first of all, there's more than one judge on the thing,
Yeah.
so but it's an average of all the judges.
Right.
So right now there's 3 judges that are judging, so therefore he's odd, right? So the other 2 judges might be marking
Right.
someone else.
The Foxtrot. We're now moving to Heat 161 for the Viennese Waltz.
Okay.
And our first event from Powell, couple 123. And our second event from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60. And our third event from Venice, couple 20. And our fourth event from Venice, couple 106. And our next event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. This is Heat 161 for the Viennese Waltz.
And then you have
Ranch, the gentleman from Lakewood Ranch. He just had I was just there, and his doctor said, you need to keep doing this, because he's had some heart issues, and I believe he got a couple bypasses and stuff like that. And he actually, and he's dancing like there's nothing ever happened. You know, he gets out of wind walking, but not dancing. It's the strangest thing.
he's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
I love the way the studio is decorated too.
Yeah. Now, Renee from Fort Walton Beach, the lady in the yellow.
And thank you, couples.
She
Moving to
dances
Heat
everywhere.
165 for the Tingo. 4 events on the floor, and our first event from Awatuki, couple 19. And our second event from Venice, couple 42. And our third event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 26. This is Heat 165 and Tango.
Yeah, so
Renee from Fort Walton Beach.
she represents Fred Astaire in our United States Championship a lot too, and she's usually a finalist in the United States. That means not just Fred Astaire dancers, but Arthur Murray Studios, independent studios, just in ballroom dancing in general. And as you can see, she's worked very hard, and she's a great dancer, great dancer.
These are a new teacher that she's dancing with now,
Yeah,
right?
this is that's Roman. He just got to the studios from Kazakhstan, and he was in Illinois for a long period of time, and then now he's in Fort Walton Beach. He transferred here, and he's dancing with her, and that's her main teacher.
Wow.
The Tango. We're now moving to Heat 166 for the Foxtrot. And our first event from Awatuki, couple 19. And our second event from Venice, couple 42. And in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. The Foxtrot.
I think that's a good thing that you can maybe talk about it a little bit. Sometimes we lose our teacher. They're in transition. They're going to a
Yeah.
different place. They're getting a promotion or something.
Yeah.
And then the amateur feels, well, oh my God, I'm losing my teacher. How am I going to start
Yeah.
over?
Yeah.
And how fast and easy is it for a new
Well,
teacher?
see, the thing is too that it really not fast, not at all. Just if you've been taught well, and you pretty much of the time you have, if your teacher's moved on and you've been taught well, because of for whatever reason your teacher moved on, he must have been a good teacher, and so in turn it does not take a long time. For the simple fact is that most of our material is all the same. It is the same thing in Wisconsin as it is in Illinois, if it is in Florida, New York. It's the same. And the system that we teach is pretty much the same.
Right.
So somebody can just step in actually
and dance with
and
you.
dance with you just like that. And
The
now you have to worry about his
foxtrot.
look, if it looks good
Now
together.
moving into Heat 167 for the Viennese Waltz. And our first event from Awatuki, couple 19, and our second event from Venice, couple 42, and our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. This is Heat 167 for the Viennese Waltz.
Let's drive out to the desert at midnight to dance in the dust of our hair.
Now I want you to look at the young lady from Venice. I want you to see how fast she moves. Now look, I'm not going to oust anybody, and I'm not even going to say their age, but I want you to really realize and see what risk this lady is really taking. Do you know what I mean? She's moving like
She's doing an amazing
an
job.
amazing job.
And you can tell this is like her exercise every day, and she's
Yep.
well fit. And I want to congratulate her. She looks amazing.
Yeah. And ladies, unfortunately, sometimes, when they get to there,
The
You know,
Viennese Waltz.
they're
We're
being
now
put to
moving into
bed.
Heat 168,
Not this lady.
Dancing the Waltz. And our first event, a two-couple final from Awatuki, couple 19, and from Venice, couple 42. And our second event, one couple from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. And in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 26. This is Heat
That's studio
168
there. Who is that?
for the
Walton
Waltz.
Beach.
The one on the right.
Awatuki.
Up.
Awatuki.
Awatuki. Awatuki's in Arizona, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I believe that lady did some solos yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe more than one.
Yeah.
She did a great job too.
Yeah.
I've never personally met her,
Yeah.
but I can tell that she's on her way of becoming
Yeah.
a very nice dancer.
Yeah. And she's dancing with Manny, I believe.
No,
And yeah,
that's not many.
yeah, I think so.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, and Manny's he's a great instructor. He's a great young man too. Is that Manny? I'm trying to look.
The Waltz. Moving into Heat 169.
That is
Dancing
Manny.
the Tango. And our first event, a two-couple final from
It
Awatuki,
is.
couple 19, and from Venice, couple 42. And our second event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. And in our final event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. Your dance, the tango.
He's gonna relieve us here in a minute. No, he's gonna relieve me, then he's gonna relieve
Here's the tango again, and this lady here, also from Fort Walton Beach, she and her husband dance together.
Martha, yeah.
And
Martha.
they do an amazing job, and I believe they take lessons in Houston
And,
and
yeah.
in Fort Walton
Yeah.
Beach at the same
Well,
and
whenever they're in Houston, they take lessons there because I believe they kind of
go back and forth.
come back and forth. Yeah.
She's doing she does an amazing job with her teachers and with her husband too. I love watching her dance with her husband. They're just performers, and they did a great routine last night in the signature numbers.
Yeah, they did a showcase number that
Yeah.
was really terrific.
the Tango. Moving into Heat 170 for the Foxtrot. 3 events, and our first event from Awatuki, couple 19, and our second event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, and in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 26. This is Heat 170 for the Foxtrot.
No, it's not. We didn't really talk about Foxtrot tonight. I love the Foxtrot.
Well, Foxtrot, it's funny because, okay, so the Foxtrot was invented back in the 20s by a gentleman named Harry Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry Fox. And what it was more of a trot around the floor.
Like
It
a
was
Peabody
trot,
almost.
almost exactly. Well, it actually was a Peabody. That's what it was. It was a Peabody. And what we did through the course of time, we basically smoothed it out and made it into a very smooth dance. And Foxtrot is actually the hardest dance to do.
I think it's because it's so flirtatious.
Yeah, and it's
you can
timing.
have fun
Yeah,
with
the
it.
timing. You can have fun with it.
Yep.
And thank you, competitors. We're now moving into Heat 171 for the Viennese Waltz. And our first event from Awatuki, couple 19, and our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108, and our third event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, and in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. Your places for Heat 171,
till the break.
the Viennese Waltz.
We'll go to the break. And then me and him will do it. These are Viennese Waltz. Again. So, Gates, why don't you explain to me, I will explain to anybody that's watching, why they have so many of the same dances that they're doing. Do they do it in different age categories or different levels? This is why we're seeing like a Viennese Waltz over and over, a Foxtrot
Well,
over.
we
and
have a
over.
competition, so there's a lot of people dancing. So each people enter their age category and their level of where they're dancing. So if you're a bronze level dancer, you would dance a bronze Viennese Waltz in your age level.
In your age level.
And then you could also dance some younger
And thank you, couple.
or a higher level.
We're now
too.
going to move into Heat 172, dancing the waltz. And our first event, we have a 2-couple final from Awatuki, couple 19, and from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. And our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. This is Heat 172 and waltz.
So if they're, going back to the Viennese Waltz real quick. So if let's say you're somebody that's much more mature than somebody else and stuff like that, do they expect less from those people? Probably not, right? I wouldn't say that, right? They
What do
wouldn't.
you mean?
Do they expect less because they might be older?
But I see. When you mature as older or mature in a dance?
No,
being
mature, maybe older. So do the judges expect less, or do they want to see what in their mind what Viennese Waltz actually is?
Well, as a judge, that's what I would like to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
I don't judge people on their age.
Right.
I basically, and remember, if you're in your 60, you'll be dancing with people that they're in their 60s.
Right.
So you're, kind of pretty much at the same.
Within a handicap. That's
Correct.
that's what it's pretty much called. But I was just wondering to see if what your thought was. Somebody like say was 80.
The waltz.
Okay. Do you,
Well,
Moving into Heat
It's amazing.
173 for the tango. Same competition. Find your places and tango.
Remember in a couple dances before we were talking about flight and posture and carriage and your frame. I mean, again, I have to bring that up so much. Some elderly people come and maybe their posture is not as great, but as they take their lessons, they learn how to stretch up and stand up taller, and that creates a better frame. So they look so much better when they're
Right.
than the other at the same age because of the lessons that they're taking.
right. So basically, they don't expect less. because they're older.
No.
They expect us, to see them standing up and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And the judges are looking attentively to everyone. And right now, we probably have 3 people dancing against each other.
And thank you, competitors. We're now moving into Heat 174, dancing the Foxtrot. One event with a 2-couple final from Awatuki, couple 19, and from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is Heat 174 for the Foxtrot.
Foxtrot again.
Yeah, and foxtrot to a certain point is it's like a slow swing. At the time,
Yeah, that's
if you were
true.
to speed up a foxtrot, actually you could dance a swing to it.
That's true too.
But we're talking before about 2/4 timing. It's the same thing, but the style of the music is swing. And what swing really actually is what like Frank Sinatra used to
Yeah.
sing a form of singing that was swing. Yeah, there was swing, right? So as he's doing that, as Frank Sinatra was, that was called swing. That's what it was, even if it was slow. But they were dancing foxtrot to it.
Yeah.
But if they were to speed that up, it's exactly what it is. It's swing.
Perfect.
The Foxtrot. We're now moving to Heat 175 for the Viennese Waltz. We have the same competition on the floor. This is Heat 175, the Viennese Waltz.
Let's talk a little bit about the World Cup Series. Because Fred Astaire Dance Studios have put together a World Cup Series, which everybody accumulates points and win cash prizes and prizes at the end of the year. And I believe we give out over $250,000 in prizes, so we're really
cash
excited.
prizes,
Yeah,
correct?
and
Right, cash prizes.
we're really excited about that. And
So do these people right now that are dancing?
they're
do they-
accumulating
they're
points
accumulating
for next
points.
year.
So they're
for
accumulating points
2023.
not only just by entering, right? By entering, but do they accumulate points for placements or
For
they
placements
do for
also.
placements too?
Yep.
Okay, wow, it's amazing. Yeah.
And that's why that's a nice thing. Some people, don't have the chance to go to a national competition.
Yeah.
But they can do the virtual competition right in their studio and get the value of points like you're going to a national competition. So
Right.
that's
And
very
thank you,
exciting.
couples.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
We're now moving into Heat 176 for the Waltz. In our first event, we have a 2-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 29, and from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. In our final event, 1 couple from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. Your places for Heat 176 and Waltz.
176. You see, before we were talking about the judges, they could look at their iPads.
Yeah.
And they could look closer to them.
Yeah.
They could actually touch the screen,
screen.
make
Yeah,
it
and the
bigger.
thumbnail, and what they do is make them bigger. And that's what most of them are doing right now. It's like, so if you notice Joe
Yeah,
up
he's
there,
looking at the
he's
screen.
studying something very, very close.
Yeah. And you were saying before you can't see the footwork, but if we do touch the screen, you
Yeah.
can look at the footwork.
Yeah, you can
and
look
all
at the
that stuff.
footwork. If it comes close between 2 people,
Yeah.
you don't know, and you have to go down to footwork,
Yep.
that's what they do.
And again, I have to say, it's so exciting to see how the studios have decorated their studios
thank
for
you,
this function.
competitors. Moving into Heat
very
177,
nice.
dancing the tango. And our first event, 2-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 29, from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. And our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108, the tango.
And it's, how this originated, how we originally started this
In
competition
COVID
was
time, right?
because it was a COVID time, right? It was a COVID time, but we kept it because some people, this is what they do. This is how they do it. This is a chance for them to brush up for their next competition, And it also gives people a chance. People monetarily sometimes can't afford to travel out. And so in turn, they do this and they're dancing on a national level.
Correct.
They're being judged by national judges.
Yep.
And they're dancing against national competitors
Across the country.
across the country. So yeah, this is going to be something that I think is going to be very, very big. You know, we have over, well over 2,000 entries this year, which is pretty great.
Moving into Heat 178, dancing the Foxtrot. We have the same competition on the floor. Your places for the Foxtrot.
So when I say 2,000 entries, we're having to compare 2,000 dances that some people are doing against each other.
Yep.
So it's not something to sneeze at, and I believe that this even next year it's going to be even larger. And what does that mean to the person that's competing? Well, what happens is that they compete against more people.
Right.
Yeah.
And this could grow as big as it is. We could have semifinals and quarterfinals.
Yeah, and
in
we have
virtually
some semifinals where we have to come down from 12 people to 6 people. Then from those 6 people, we pick first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and we have some of this in this competition. So, and when it comes to the rhythm day tomorrow, we have some of that. And and if somebody's like uncontested, does not mean that automatically they get a first place. Sometimes being uncontested is a little bit harder.
And
I'll come back to that in a
couples.
second.
We're now moving into Heat 179, dancing the Viennese Waltz. 2 events. In our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, and our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is Heat 179, the Viennese Waltz.
Just to let you guys know, you have some people watching that wanted to say hello. Jim Anderson says hello to you. Emmanuel Robinson says, looking good, Jose. Donovan says hello.
So when we say, let's say, if there's somebody that's uncontested there, it doesn't necessarily mean that they get first place. Sometimes it's harder because you have to dance up to a scale that we set. To get a first place, you have to dance between a 90 and 100. Then to get a second place, you have to dance between an 80 and a 90, and you have to dance up to that. So sometimes you could win, but your competition wasn't as strong. So in turn, sometimes when you're uncontested, it's just a little tad harder because you have to dance up to that placement, and you have to be that good to get a first place.
Oh.
Did you guys hear me say the people saying hello to you? Bruno and Gates.
Are they saying, oh,
The
say hello?
Venus
Some people are
Waltz.
saying hello
We're
to
now
us.
moving into Heat 180, dancing the waltz. We have a 4-couple final on our intermediate silver close. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. From Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. From Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115. This is Heat 180 and waltz.
Am I what? Well, that's just the way it is. Now, what I want you to do is this: I want you to watch the lady in the yellow dress. Okay, I mean you can see it in that box.
Yeah.
The way she strikes her leg on the floor, that's really what movement is. So in turn, and Martha, the lady from Fort Walton Beach,
does
is
quite
doing the
well,
same
too.
thing. The same thing. So what happens when you're striking the floor? That's what keeps time to the music. That's what becomes musical.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just okay. I'm stepping and moving. So and that gentleman right there too.
That's her husband.
That's her
Martha's
husband. That's right. That's right.
He's really improved a lot.
Yeah, he's improved a lot, and he's more of an expressive dancer. He moves from an
The
emotion.
waltz. We're now moving into Heat 181, dancing the tango. Same competition on the floor. For Heat 181, the tango.
Let's talk about a little bit of this upcoming, our national competition cross country dance championships in Boston. I'm looking so forward to
Yeah.
it. If you haven't been to Boston, April is the best time to be in Boston. You can see all the cherry blossoms. The hotel is right downtown by the Riverwalk. I hear it's really, really beautiful hotel. So we're looking so forward to it. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to be a huge competition.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge event. Well, we have so many studios up in the east, in the northeast, that they're going to be able just to even drive there. You know what I mean? But that is our cross country, which is our cross country. That's one of our that's our first nationals of the year, and that's going to be exciting. Yes.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 182, dancing the Foxtrot. Same competition for Heat 182 and Foxtrot.
Okay, here's the Foxtrot again. So, in turn, if you would have speeded up this music, actually think about it. You could do a swing.
Yeah, or West Coast.
West Coast, that's right. That's right. So, then I mentioned that only because when people go out dancing, most of the time they don't know what dance to fit to what. So, as we talked about before, there's only two types of music that's written: 2/4 timing or waltz timing, 1, 2, 3 beats. So, in turn, now this is a 2/4 timing. You could actually do a rumba to this.
Yeah.
You could do a swing to this.
You could do a
a
cha-cha
tango
as well.
to this. The only dance you couldn't do to this
Is a waltz.
is a waltz because it's not written in waltz timing. So, and that's probably one of the biggest things when people go out dancing. They just don't know. They don't know. They go, okay, what do I dance to this song? This sounds really great, but
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 183 for the Viennese Waltz. We have one event with two couples from Fort Walton Beach, couples 41 and 61. This is Heat 183, the Viennese Waltz.
so this Viennese Waltz now, right? So Viennese Waltz. Now, if you think about it, if you listen to the words, and then you probably can't hear them over my voice. So how you determine what kind of dance it is? Okay, well, what are they singing about? So
Well,
if they're singing about romance, and if they're singing about love, and they're singing about that's how you put it in its own category. So in turn, what dancing is, it's the same thing as what a singer does. We demonstrate that song through body language. The singer happens to be singing it with her voice. The dancer actually has the body language that actually tells the same story that she's
while
singing
they're
about.
doing their choreographed
And thank you,
dance.
couples. Moving into Heat 184, dancing the waltz. Two events on the floor, and our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, and our second event, a two-couple final from Venice, couple 42, and from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is Heat 184 and waltz.
Let's talk about that for a second. And then the reason why I say that is just I want to kind of educate our audience, whoever
Viewers.
might be watching. So you have instruments that are playing in tune. Then in most cases you have a singer on top of that. Okay, that's actually singing on top of those instruments that are singing. Then you have the dancer on top of that.
Yep.
That actually is miming whatever that song is about. They're actually miming it. So if you couldn't hear, you should be able to still see it. And what's entertaining is to watch somebody hear a piece of music and watch somebody bringing that music to life, while they're dancing.
And thank you,
And that's
couples.
so true.
Moving into Heat 185, dancing the tango. Same competition, your places, and tango.
And then people like yourself that you go into schools, you do a lot of choreography for
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And
the
that's a whole
choreography
nother
is
level
exactly
too,
that.
right?
That's exactly what you're doing is when you choreograph, you choreograph that music. You're telling the story of that music
Yeah.
through through a couple that might be dancing, but how it looks and how they would demonstrate the best. So if you ever seen a couple, you ever watched a whole bunch of people dancing, but there's that one couple you really don't know why you can't stop watching them.
Well, what you're story.
What you're doing is this: you're hearing music and seeing music. Those two senses being alarmed is what really you watch people.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how good they are, how good footwork they have. It doesn't matter. It's the ones that actually you can hear the music and see the music at the same time.
Yep.
The Tingo. Moving into heat 186 for the Foxtrot. Your places, same competition, Foxtrot.
We're almost at the break. 190. Soon the championship divisions are going to be starting, and those are all I believe all the open categories, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if is that the open categories. Yep, all the open categories. So that'll be fun to watch too.
And when is that coming out?
In a few beats.
So, okay, let me ask you. So while we watch this, okay, so some of this music to somebody that might be watching might seem a little old-fashioned, right? But is it really old-fashioned? I mean, who's singing that right now?
That's
Michael Bublé, isn't
yeah.
it? He's a contemporary singer.
Yeah.
It's just the style of song that he's singing.
Moving into heat 187, dancing the Viennese Waltz. And our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. And our second event, two-couple final from Venice, couple 42. And from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. And our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 26. This is heat 187, the Viennese Waltz.
I love the Viennese Waltz. So much fun.
Not to mistaken that with Vietnamese waltz, because there's no Vietnamese waltz. It's just a Viennese waltz, right?
That's what I'm saying. Viennese Waltz.
Yeah. No, because I mean, some people were saying it. They might have said, "Did he just say Vietnamese waltz?"
I think Viennese Waltz was one of my favorite dances to dance.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to feel the flight that you're doing across the floor. And especially if your choreography is really moving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And two people moving that fast.
Yeah.
It's like almost ice skaters.
Well, you know, it was funny, but you say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. It is as close to ice skating as you're possibly going to get without ice skates.
Yeah.
Now, if you notice this song here, this is an R&B song, R&B, but you're gonna do a Viennese waltz to it.
Yeah.
Because it's written in waltz timing.
Let's give it up for that Viennese Waltz. You had us all jamming to that one. We're now moving into heat 190. We're gonna skip forward to heat 190, dancing our full silver clothes Foxtrot. Two events on the floor, and our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41. And our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is heat 190.
If you see the Fort Walton Beach studio, looking up on that wall, those are all trophies.
All trophies of people that won.
That's all trophies.
I've been in that
Foxtrot.
studio many times.
Those are all trophies
Very
that they won.
impressive to see all the trophies over the years of the United States Ballroom Championship.
Well, that studio's been there 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years. It's a long time.
Didn't you and Luann own that studio
Yeah,
at one time?
we started that studio.
Wind and rain don't care about me and you.
Yeah, my kids grew up in that studio. Never actually. They were always trained to walk on the edges of the floor, or else they would get killed. Right? They were never allowed to run across that floor. Now remember, they started getting trained too. They only walked along the edges whenever they needed to do something. Yeah.
Look how much fun that Foxtrot is. I
Yeah.
wish I could go out there and do it again.
And thank you, competitors. We're now moving into Heat 192. Dancing our silver open waltz. We have 2 events on the floor in our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, we have a 3-couple final. From Ahwatukee, couple 19. From South Tampa, couple 39. And from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is Heat 192 for the waltz.
Okay, now my son's going to come and join me for a little bit. Hi, B.
Hello, Dad. Are we actually?
So tell me what is your favorite dance? Well, what is one of the couples that you think is actually dancing the best out of the ones that are?
Oh, you know I can't pick that. I have bias towards the one I grew up in, but having known everybody, having watched everybody for so long, everyone brings their own unique style to it, and that variation, I think, is what makes the dancing we do so much better than everybody else's.
So if you were sitting here judging that right now,
I've always been judging.
yeah, and who would you pick out of that screen?
That handsome young gentleman in the corner with the microphone.
No, out of the dancers, not yourself.
Like I told you, I
Thank you,
can't pick.
couples.
Everyone's doing so well
We're
tonight.
now moving to Heat 193.
Oh, you didn't
dancing
want to
the
be put on the
tango.
spot, huh?
No, I'm just being honest.
3
I need to
events
watch a
on
little
the
we
more.
can't talk wise
with
now.
4 couples in our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, a 2-couple final from Ahwatukee, couple 19. And from South Tampa, couple 39. And our final event from Powell, couple
Okay.
123. This is Heat 193 for the tango.
Okay, just for that, I'm going to choose Roman. The one with most expression into the camera.
Yeah. And he
But tell me, who
see
on the
he like see the thing is, it's funny because we might be thinking, okay, well, Roman is being just a clown and messing around.
No.
But what Roman's really doing is drawing attention to himself and to his partner.
Well, as you told me, I think all my life, once you have the technique down, once you have the movements down, and everything generally well done, what sets you apart is the personality, the acting, and then it becomes less about the technique that you have, and about 60% the character that you bring.
Well, yeah, technique is a lifelong journey. Expression and seeing somebody somebody to watch you dance and express is all about an emotion and expression, isn't it? Because technique changes. Technique changes yearly. Well,
The tango. And thank you, competitors. Moving into Heat 194 for the Foxtrot. And our first event, 1 couple from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, a 2-couple final from Ahwatukee, couple 19. And from South Tampa, couple 39. This is Heat 194 for the Foxtrot.
so we were talking about technique changing, right? So think about it. So we sacrifice a lot of technique to be able to create more movement. That's how dancing evolves, right? I mean, if you think about ice skating, 30 years ago.
You told me growing up that ice skating was for people who can't dance.
No, but 30 years ago, doing a single toe loop was a big deal.
It was.
Now, if you don't do 5, so for us to be able to do 5 toe loops now, technique changes along the way. But one thing that does not change is how you express that dance, how you act out that dance. That's eternal. That happens on the spot, and it happens always.
Well, I remember all the routines you ever choreographed for me growing up. We always started with the character of the dance. We did McCavity based on cats. It was more centered around.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 195 for the Viennese Waltz. 2 events on the floor in our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, a 3-couple final. From Ahwatukee, couple 19. From South Tampa, couple 39. And from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is Heat 195 for the Viennese Waltz.
Hey, Brunos.
Yes.
Janice Tribbiani says hi,
Hello, Janice.
and she'd like to say that she's so glad that we're streaming this. So
Okay, which,
Well, we're very glad to be
which
streaming
one
as
is she
well.
talking about? The young one or the older one?
I don't know.
Hi,
mean,
Janice.
it's.
I think she was talking about the older one.
I think she was talking about the one with the exceptional hair.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I think I will turn on the feed so we can see the comments in real time.
She says, still makes me want to be back in the ballroom, smiley face.
Well, we're still waiting for you to come back. There we go.
The Viennese Waltz. And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 196 for the Waltz. And our first event, a two-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, and from
It
Fort
was the
Walton
older
Beach,
Bruno,
couple
wasn't it?
61. And our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108, and in our final event from Mequon, couple 65. This
No,
is Heat 196 and Waltz.
no, she says both of them. LOL. Which is a nice way of saying me.
Yeah, which is a nice way of not leaving him out.
Which is a nice way of acknowledging he's still
So I
here
just wanna,
somehow.
now that I'm just because we can talk a little bit. What's with the hair?
Well,
Do you think you can get a haircut?
I see you look at it with envy every time I walk by, so it just makes me want to keep growing
I'm just
it.
thinking you need a haircut.
I think you need the hair that I've grown.
You need a haircut.
You need more hair.
Well, look.
Anyway,
I gave
Papa.
you all the hair.
Anyway, Papa. Who tonight is actually drawing your eye on the screen currently?
Well, it's funny because everybody draws my attention a little bit different. You have, Fort Walton Beach there. You have Renee. She draws my attention for the simple fact of how she moves, with certain emotion across the
The
floor.
Waltz. Thank you, couples. We're
I'll
now
go
going to
into it a
move
little
into
bit
Heat
more.
197 for the Tango. Same competition. Your places for the Tango.
Real quick, Donovan Shanahan says, "Go Pleasant Prairie Studio. Good luck in students and great job, everyone." Appreciate
That's
that.
Great. I'm glad that they're watching. So anyway,
And yes, Fort Walton Beach is a beautiful place. I'm completely unbiased here, but yes.
so everybody showing me a little bit of something different. Something. So the way that their body language is like if you look at Mequon there, her movement is very dramatic and just very. It's very abrupt, and that draws my attention. Then you have somebody like Renee that's kind of doing the same dance, but her movement's just a little. It's done a little bit different, with a little bit more elegance, and that's just I think the way
Well,
that they look is the way that it's shaped.
Well, I like how every individual person brings that indefinable aspect to the dancing.
Yeah.
As we always talked about, whenever the technique is something that is that enough for you to experiment with, and more of you gets to come through, there are no two dancers just alike.
Yeah.
The Tango. We're now moving into Heat 198, dancing the Foxtrot. And our first event, we have a two-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, and from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. And our final event, a two-couple final from Mequon, couple 65, and from North Scottsdale, couple 105. Following Heat 199, we will take a short break. After Heat 199, we'll be taking a short break. This is Heat 198 for the Foxtrot.
And our director, Nicholas Plant, says, "I had time to do a 4-mile beach jog this morning." Not sure how that's relevant, Nick, but we are very happy for you.
Now you couldn't be doing that beach run in Wisconsin around this time. I don't think.
Well, anyway, let's see. We have let's see. Is that Kentley and Katie up from
Yeah,
Lakewood?
that's Kentley and
yes,
Katie.
my twin, who's dancing in my time frames usually. Now one thing I do love, and I said this earlier to Steven, is that every one of our studios are different.
Yeah.
But every person dances so much differently on the floor they've been practicing on, and the space they've been practicing on. Me personally, as any one of my partners can tell you, when you have the starting point where you're used to starting,
Yeah.
it's almost the second nature comes a lot quicker, a lot smoother.
Yeah, and you feel much more confident because you have passed that point before. You
I
know?
look here when I look there. I turn here. And
All right.
That's right.
Thank you, couples. At this time, we're going to take this break. We are having one studio having difficulty with their camera, so we are going to run this heat again. When we come back, heat 198 will be run again. So please stand by. We'll be taking a short break, and we'll be right back with you.
All right, you're watching the 2023 Fred Astaire Virtual Dance Competition. This is Session 3, the Pro-Am Open Smooth Divisions. If you guys are wondering who we're speaking to, talking to the people in the live chat, you too can be part of the conversation. All you need to do is log into YouTube. That's easy enough to do. If you click on the circle in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see your credentials information. Put that in there, and then underneath the video, right in the center, it says live chat. If you click on that, you guys can ask questions of the Brunos or whoever's sitting in the couch at the time. We have a couple-minute break. There's a studio that has an issue with their camera. Should only be about 2 minutes, I would think. You can join us tomorrow. Let's see. I'll bring the schedule up. Now I found the schedule. All right, tomorrow starts at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. That will be for the American Rhythm Bronze and Silver and Gold Closed divisions. That's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us for that. And then the evening session will start at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That'll be the American Open Rhythm Single and Multi-Dance divisions, all levels. And then Friday evening, I'm sorry, that was Friday evening. Saturday matinee, I'll start at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's going to be the International Closed and Open Ballroom and Latin Championships. So all the International Ballroom and Latin will be danced on Saturday afternoon. And then Saturday evening starts at 7 p.m., it looks like. Oh, no. I don't have a start time for that one. Well, that's Saturday evening. I'll let you know. That's going to be all the professional divisions as well as the awards for the competition. Like I said, we're just in a holding pattern, waiting for a studio to get their cameras set. If you guys have watched this whole session today, you could see that we had a little bit of an issue. I wouldn't heard earlier we had an issue too. What's funny is it's different issues. You keep trying to solve a problem and then another problem happens. So I think we got it dialed in. I'm joined right now by Neff Fisher. He's the DJ, music director for this week's events. He's doing a good job. He's playing all the hits. And all the red flags we're getting from YouTube's algorithm that lets us know that we're using copyrighted material. That's his fault. This is our 3rd annual Virtual International Championships. It's part of the World Cup Series. In fact, we have the World Cup Series directors here. One of them is our MC, not the current MC. The current MC is Pajman Lipsy, the gentleman that was doing the afternoon session today. Tad Joy and his wife Elizabeth. She's one of the adjudicators. They run the World Cup Series. This is I believe the 2nd event for the calendar year of 2023 of the World Cup Series. Last week was the West Coast Dance Championships. I believe that's the name of it. In California. This week we have, obviously, the Virtual International Championships. Next week will be the Desert Dance Classic in Tucson, Arizona. We're looking forward to doing that event. We'll be streaming live from Tucson for their Desert Dance Classic that Friday and Saturday night, the pro divisions. So I don't have a schedule as of yet, so I can't tell you times. I will say it will be in Arizona time. Janice says, awesome, Donovan. She also says, you're doing a great job. AT&T drops constantly around here lately. Yeah, it's weird. So I use Macintosh products to do the streaming. And Macintosh updated their operating system in, I want to say late December of 2022. And of course, now that we have the new operating system, there's all kinds of issues with it, which we're experiencing now. So that's fun. Donovan says hello again. Are you having fun, Donovan? Hey, when you were at Milwaukee Classic, why didn't you come over and say hi? We were streaming there. I think we're getting ready to go again. The adjudicators are almost back to their position. We've got 2 of them, you can see. Elizabeth Joy sitting in the bottom row, and then Joe Travato sitting in the top. And our other adjudicator tonight is Marilyn Benitez. Looks like she's heading over there now. She heard me talking about her, so I think she's getting into position. There she is, Miss Marilyn. Oh, Donovan was too busy dancing. That's why I didn't say hi. Well, next time. All right, sounds like.
We're going to run 198 again, but only the last event. We're only going to run the last event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to be moving into Heat 198 again for our Foxtrot. We're going to be redoing the 3rd event judges, our 3rd event only. In our C1 division, we have a 2-couple final from Mech 1, couple 65, and from North Scottsdale, couple 105. This is Heat 198 for the Foxtrot.
And we are back.
Okay, so let's talk about your Uncle Joe a little bit. Okay,
Oh, this
so
will be
he's
fun.
the one, the judge in the middle, right?
Yes.
You know, he had a growing problem when he was a little younger. Well, he never really grew. But he's like, what, 5'1"?
Anyway,
So not only that, right now he's sitting on 3 pillows. See,
the
that's why
students
he
are doing
looks so
really
tall.
good right now. Beautiful technique. Good control of the floor.
See North Scottsdale? I was just in that school. When was it? I think it was in November. They have a lot of Ukrainian dancers from the Ukraine, and young of all ages. I mean, and they're like dynamite.
In this dance particularly, what's something you think people need to keep an eye in a minute?
The Foxtrot. And thank you, couples. Moving into Heat 199 for the Viennese Waltz. 2 events on the floor in our first event, a 3-couple final. From Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. From Mequon, couple 65. And from North Scottsdale, couple 105. And our second event, 1 couple from Powell, couple 123. This is Heat 199 for the Viennese Waltz.
No, what were you saying?
The Vietnamese waltz.
Viennese waltz.
I know. I was just
There's
mocking.
no such thing as a
I
Vietnamese
was
waltz.
just mocking Uncle Gates. But in this in particular dance, what do you think people need to keep an in particular eye on? I know when we've talked about it before, it's a mix between being fast but also graceful, keeping your level. But what's something you would say to anyone watching wanting to take something
Well,
away?
the thing about Viennese waltz is that they're actually, contrary to what people think, there is no rise and fall in Viennese waltz. Okay, the whole idea of Viennese waltz is getting across the floor with a very big stride, but staying to the music, which is fast actually. So I compare it to, it's the closest thing to ice skating, the smoothness of ice skating
Yes,
you
you said that.
possibly can get.
So it would be about keeping that level as you go across the floor.
Yeah, it's keeping
The
that level across
Viennese
the floor.
Bring the
Waltz.
knees.
And thank you, competitors. Moving into Heat 200, dancing the waltz. 2 events on the floor in our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, a 3-couple final from South Tampa, couple 39. From Mequon, couple 65. And from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. This is Heat 200 and waltz.
So now I want you to see how they're opening up and closing, and this is in the regular waltz. Now, if you were to see this and compare it to a picture that you might have seen in the past, what it would be, and this would be a little bit older than you would remember because you're a little bit younger, but
You
but
remember you raised me in
what
this
a
place,
minuet,
right?
A minuet is like a French.
You are aware you and Mom raised me in this environment. I know what a minuet
Yeah,
is.
I know, but a minuet, would be. This is what it would compare. And then music kind of has that haunting sound.
Well,
And that's really what you would compare it to. So the thing about dancing is this: you always have to picture a form that you might have seen, so you can understand it.
well, what I would always say, at least on my perspective, I'll say it in a second.
And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 201, dancing the tango. 2 events on the floor in our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, 2-couple final from South Tampa, couple 39. And from Mequon, couple 65. This is Heat 201, the tango.
Roman looks ready.
Yeah. Oh, Roman will draw attention to himself no matter where he's at.
You guys
What's
have a
up?
question from Donovan. He says, what's your favorite dance and what is the easiest dance for beginners to learn?
Well, I don't really think there is one in particular dance. The hustle is always fun for a beginner. It's quicker,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
But what do you think
Well, I think as far as for a beginner,
for a beginner?
the easiest to learn, I'd
Something
probably
you would say that you can teach someone enough to where you can, in the first lesson, get them feeling like they're dancing.
Probably hustle. But the thing is, that's the great thing about the predecessor system is actually there's only 4 ways you can move your feet: either forward, back, side to side. There's 4 directions. That's it. That's all you can do. So in turn, it's how we move them. So what we do is we take those 4 directional movements, and we can make up every single dance.
And
So you
thank
can learn every
couples.
dance in
Moving
one
into
lesson.
202 for the Foxtrot. And our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, and our second event, 2-couple final from South Tampa, couples 39, and from Mequon 65. And our final event from Powell, couple 123. This is heat 202 for the Foxtrot.
And when they asked, what's your favorite dance? See, I don't, me personally, I don't go by a dance. I go by a music. So if I love this piece of music and it happens to be my favorite, what I would do is that whatever dance went to that music, that would be my favorite at that time. So if I love another piece of music and I'd say, okay, what dance goes to this music, that would be my favorite dance at that time.
One thing I've always thought about, as I was saying earlier, in the beginning you think about counting a lot of the beats,
Yeah.
but at least from my perspective, one thing dancers always have to do is let the music be through them. More so,
Yeah.
you're always usually when we're at a competition and a good piece of music comes on, you'll see somebody change even the most minute ways as the same dance.
Yeah.
If the song requires it to have more of a somber feel, a more excitable feel, or
And thank you, couples. Moving into heat 203 for the Viennese Waltz. And our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, 3-couple final from South Tampa, couple 39. From Mequon 65. And from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. And our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115. Your places for heat 203, the Viennese Waltz.
oh, nothing, just that depending on the music, people who think about a dance as a static piece of art, it's one thing, but it's not. It's a living piece of art. Every tango is different compared to what the song is. Every tango is different compared to what the song is and the dancer dancing it. So one thing that you learn as you go along is that you're not just moving in accordance with what the steps or the timing has you do. The minor things that you change according to what the feel of the song is when things are actually flowing through you. That's where the moments of being alive in the same way singing or acting is.
Right. That's a pretty good analogy of it, B.
And thank you, couples. Moving into heat 204, Dancing the Waltz. And our first event, a 2-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, and from Mequon, couple 65. And our second event, 1 couple from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. Your places for heat 204 and Waltz.
And who particularly is drawing your eye right now?
It was what?
Who particularly is drawing your eye right now on the screen?
Couple 65 of Mequon is okay. So for the Fort Walton lady, the one in the yellow, she's Renee. She's drawing me because of the color. Okay. Now the Mequon lady there, she was the way that they started their dance. She drew me right to it because she was building to something. I'm going, okay. So everything started slow. Everything was starting to move. Then I was waiting in anticipation to see where she was going to go from there. So she'd draw that quiet moment she had drew me to it. But also now while I was watching her, the color of Renee
And the
was drawing me to her.
Waltz.
So,
Well, moving into heat
so in turn,
205
that's the thing
for
about
the
dancing.
Tango. Same competition on the floor for the Tango.
The James Bond dance. In fact, I think that's how you first taught me how to do this dance. You told me this is what James Bond dances to,
Yeah, yeah,
just like you taught me to walk to Saturday Night Fever.
yeah.
and then you corrected how I walked to Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah. So and so
Yes.
in turn, if you think about it, right, it's kind of like this: whatever the flavor of that song, whatever the flavor of the song is how the actual dance looks different. So we've seen probably 10, 20 tangos tonight so far.
But has one of them been the same?
Music has been different in each of the thing. Now the rhythm and the beat have stayed the same, and the timing, the tempo, but the feeling of the melody of the music has been different. So all of a sudden they look different.
The
Exactly.
Tango. Moving into Heat 206, dancing the Foxtrot. Same competition for the Foxtrot.
You give that bow, Roman. I said, you give that bow, Roman. Now, Stephen was telling us earlier how the Foxtrot's really changed over the years to be a little more jazzy, a little more sharp. And what do you think on that? I mean, you've been in the business
Well,
since
see,
before there
what
was...
happens is that more so in the way that the style has changed. It's the music that has changed. So what happens is when they start playing a little bit different music, and let's say it's a little more contemporary. Let's say they play a 2/4 timing foxtrot that's very smooth and melodic. Then all of a sudden, really the foxtrot hasn't really changed that much. But the music that they play is a little jazzier. So in turn, how the body expresses that song really changes the style. So then my point being before, we've seen, 20 foxtrots too. So as we see them, I'll
We're now
finish
moving
in a
into
second.
Heat 207 for the Viennese Waltz. Find your places for the Viennese Waltz.
So in turn, like say for example, we've seen a whole bunch of Viennese waltzes too, but now this is more of a contemporary Viennese waltz. So what happens? What the eye sees is what the ears hear. So think about that for a second. As I hear this song, I'm not really watching them dance. I'm watching this song. So this is where the difference and the eclecticness of what they're doing happens, and it changes.
Well, in the
Whenever
same
the
way.
music changes, the dance changes. Even though the dance stays the same, but the feeling of the dance is the same.
Well,
and
it's
that
no different
means
than
that
when you're actually hearing a song and having it affect you emotionally. When you're a dancer, you hear the song and it affects you
Yeah.
emotionally, and then you just express that through movement that you practice and trained with.
Yes, and see, and what happens too is this. But me as an audience watching it right now,
And thank you, couples. We're now going to be moving into Heat 208, dancing the waltz. In our first event, we have one couple from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, one couple from Powell, couple 123. In our third event, we have a 4-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 29. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. From South Tampa, couple 39. And from Mequon, couple 65. And the final event from Venice, couple 42. This is Heat 208
Our friends at Lakewood Ranch there.
and waltz.
so
Eric making sure everyone sees his number.
as I
Very
was
smart.
saying before, right? Okay, so now this song will come on. My senses is hearing it, but I'm forced to watch it. So as I'm forced to watch it because I'm sitting here watching it, I'm hearing this song. And the person that actually makes me see this song the same way I'm hearing
Yes,
it
I see what you
is
mean.
the person that's best dancing the best.
Right, the one that conveys both the emotional aspect visually and
So those two senses have to be stimulated for me to enjoy what they're doing. Sight and sound, those two things.
Yes,
That's what
that
makes
is
a
the
good dancer.
perfect way of putting it. Giving the life of the song physical form. I love that.
Yeah.
That's also how you choreograph, isn't it?
Yes.
I remember all
I
the,
put myself in a position where I go, if I'm a good audience, I'm going to be a good choreographer. This is what I would like to see and hear to this music. It's the same
The
exact thing.
waltz. We're now moving into Heat 209, dancing the tango. And our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event A 4-couple final from Northport, couple 36. From Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. From South Tampa, couple 39. And from Mequon, couple 65. And in our final event from Venice, couple 42. Your dance, the tango.
I remember, yes, we were trained early on not to ever run across the floor.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And why was that? Why couldn't you run across the floor?
Well, when we were kids,
Why not, though?
well, it was very simple. The floor is a place people are practicing, working, focusing. It's
Right.
it's a hallowed place, and it's respected as such. You walk
And
around.
you respect the people that are on that floor for dancing and not walking across it. That's just the biggest no-no. Because the thing is that,
Well, there's
you know,
already so much
everything
traffic you're
you
working
might
with on
think,
the
oh my
floor.
God, look how cute my kids are. But not everybody thinks the same way.
No, we were
They're
we
going-
were raised early on that you walk around, you show respect, you don't. Okay. Yeah,
Right, you go, look how
It
cute
was-
my kids are. Yeah, they're only cute to you.
it was it was professional game of the floor is lava.
Yeah, that's right.
The tango. Moving into Heat 210, dancing the foxtrot. At our first event, 1 couple from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61.
There's comments?
And our second event, we have a 3-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37, from South Tampa, couple 39, and from Mequon, couple 65. And in our final event from Venice, couple 42. This is Heat 210. Your places, the foxtrot.
You know, on that subject to this day, every time I step on the floor, my spine gets a little straighter, my step gets a little smoother, and even though I'm walking in a direct line,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, and the whole idea, you know, is while you do that is dancing is to be able to do that all the time. It's like you're sitting in your car. You don't slouch. You sit up straight.
oh God, no, I physically cannot slouch.
Yeah,
Thanks
so-
to you and Mom.
Yeah, and so in turn, what happens is that you have to. That's the whole idea of dancing, is to be able to carry yourself when you're not dancing.
The,
It's funny because you can usually tell a dancer because he keeps his form, he or she keeps their form, even when they're not dancing, when they're just
well, in the
doing
same way
everyday
you can
life.
see everybody move across the floor
The
here. It's
foxtrot.
Right, yeah.
We're now moving into Heat 211 for the Viennese Waltz. And our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, a 3-couple final from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. From South Tampa, couple 39. And from Mequon, couple 65. And our final event from Venice, couple 42 for the Viennese Waltz.
well, in the same way that you can see everybody move across the floor here, everyone's moving with what's the word I'm looking for? Determination of movement. Everything they're moving as one unit, shoulders back. No matter what they're doing, there is pride in the form. There's display in the form.
Right.
And I can tell you, growing up with that mentality, you had a lot of people thinking you were arrogant.
Yeah, but you see, that's
It was
the thing
true,
is-
but
and it's not the word arrogant that we're looking for; it's the word confident.
well, the people who don't understand
yeah.
that this
See,
is how you're
there's
trained
a
to move, it
difference
comes off
between-
very.
yeah, see, the thing is, what dancing teaches you to do is teaches you to look confident, not be confident, because none of us are born with confidence. None of us are ever confident. That's just the thing. We act confident, and then we become confident. That's just the way it goes.
Well, no,
So
there's-
dancing teaches you to walk with confidence, to be able to not just when you're dancing all the time, to walk with a certain confidence and an aura, so it doesn't look like it's you're a snob.
The Viennese Waltz. And thank you, couples. We're now moving into Heat 212 for the Tango. 2 events on the floor, and our first event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, a 3-couple final from Oak Creek, couple 31. From Mequon, couple 65. And from North Scottsdale, couple 105. This is Heat 212 and Tango.
So
Although-
let's just talk about for a second, why we're sitting here talking while this is going on. Okay, so
Well, we're
just
observing
for anybody
everybody.
that's watching and stuff like this, more so, it's to draw attention to what dancing does. That's really what if we could get through to you in that way, through watching these wonderful people competing, because the thing is, and try to maybe have a little bit of an understanding. and what they're doing, it's so special. You know what I mean? They're not moving. They're not just walking. You know, what they're doing. They're playing an instrument, and we want anybody that might be watching to draw attention to that, and to also feel that there may be that they're saying, well, look, if that guy can do it, I can do it. If that lady can do it, I can do it. And that's really what our job is here. We try to tell goofy stories and stuff like that. Maybe get you to understand a little bit of it. So if we get on your nerves, sorry.
Moving into Heat 213 for the waltz. We have 2 events on the floor, and our first event, we have a 4-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115, and from Powell, couple 124. At this time, judges delete couple 124, delete couple 124. This is now a 3-couple final. And now for our second event, a 2-couple final from Venice, couple 20, and from Lakewood Ranch, couple 29.
He's a silly goose.
This is Heat 213 and waltz.
As deep as deep this might sound, dancing is one of the most early expressions we ever had as even humans. I mean, I was talking to somebody saying that the earliest thing was painting, telling stories, making music or rhythm, and then moving to that rhythm. Those were the 4 earliest things people did. And when you think about that in a very historic sense, it's amazing to know that just making a beat and moving even the smallest bit to it, and moving like this, it's so natural for people to do. Some people can't dance worth anything before they've practiced, but there is something fundamentally beautiful about hearing this music and embodying it like that. And especially focusing on the craft of it, making everything smooth, practiced, beautiful like this as we see here. It speaks to something a lot deeper than just an individual craft, I think. I mean, I don't know one person who's...
And thank you, competitors. We're now moving into Heat 214 for the Tango. At our first event, a 3-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, 61, and couple 115. And our second event from Venice, couple 20. Judges, please delete couple 124. This is Heat 214 and Tango.
I don't think I've ever seen one person, bless you, one person dancing that's not been happy in the moment.
Well, you know, it's funny. If you ever watched an orchestra, a symphony, and you have that conductor that's
Conducting the orchestra.
That's the dancer in that instrument. That's the dancer. Then his instrument is actually movement.
Exactly.
That keeps everything in tune. So in turn, that's what a conductor does. He keeps everything in tune. He's the dancer of that orchestra. That's how it works. And if you think about it, all of these different people are the conductors of that whole music, because they're expressing it through movement.
Yes, exactly.
And they really are actually one of the instruments that it's playing together. Just the one that you see.
The Tango. Moving into Heat 215 for the Foxtrot. And our first event, 3-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couples 41, 61, and 115. And our second event from Venice, couple 20. And our third event from Powell, couple 1, 2, 3. This is Heat 215 for the Foxtrot.
And Dad, you've been dancing for 40 years, so...
Yeah, so I started when I was 1.
1?
Yeah, so it makes me 41. So
yes, like you and Mom. I was born apparently when you were 10.
Yeah, and you were born when I was 10, right? So, about 40 years. I started when I was about 20 years old. So it's that's and that's never really too late, because a lot of these competitors that are here, some of them started when they were 60.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's a misconception a lot of people might have before coming in is that you're too old to start. But the fact of the matter is, we've seen people who are in walkers walk on the floor, like Francis Patrick.
Yeah, I've seen people in wheelchairs actually have gotten up off of wheelchairs, danced, and went back to the wheelchair.
Couples. We're now moving into Heat 216 for the Viennese Waltz. 2 events on the floor. In our first event, a 3-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couples 4161 and 115. And our second event, 1 couple from Powell, couple 123. This is Heat 216 and the Viennese Waltz.
We actually have a whole division about para ballroom dancing now, don't we?
Yes, we do.
People in wheelchairs, like I was when I was younger.
Yeah, that can't walk, that they do.
But the
do
movement
para-dancing.
but the movement they have is still utilized in the same way, and it's
And a lot of people don't realize, that they actually are good. See, dancing's a visual thing. Okay, a lot of people that come in to take dance lessons already bring the good dancing with them. What we do, the reason why they take a lot of lessons, is for comfort. But as far as look and how you look to others, you should never be nervous to walk in, because you already have what you're going to look like. We do it a lot only for comfort. That's it, to be able to make it feel comfortable. But how other people see it, it's instant. As soon as you start your lessons, that's the way you look. And sometimes you might think, okay, I look terrible, but that's not true.
The Viennese Waltz. And thank you, couples. Moving into Heat 217, dancing the waltz. At our first event, we have a 3-couple final in our C division from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, from Mequon, couple 65, and from North Scottsdale, couple 105. And our second event, 1 couple from Powell, couple 123. And our third event, 1 couple from Venice, couple 20. And in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115. This is Heat 217 and waltz.
Janice says Fort Walton Beach has a serious sound system. Yes, we do.
Who just says that?
That is Janice Tribineri. My last name is Trigliece, and I can't
What
even.
is it? Janice Tribbiani.
Tribbiani, that's it.
What kind of Italian are you that you cannot pronounce Tribbiani?
The kind whose father only taught him swear words.
That is not true, and you do still need a haircut.
And you still need the hair I've grown. I love you, Papa. I personally love how Powell's studio is set up.
Yeah, look how it looks like a Christmas. It looks like a living room, doesn't it?
Indeed.
It's beautiful.
And I love how it's a small thing, but their floor has just a touch different coloring that actually offsets the warmness of the room.
Yeah.
I mean, it brings all the warmness together. And that's one thing I was telling Steven earlier. No matter what studio you're in, everyone has different personality in it.
Yeah.
And
The
See,
waltz.
Paul, the one with the students
for the
like.
tango. And our first
She's a
event, 1
dance
couple
child,
from
too.
Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event, 1 couple from Powell, couple 123. And our third event, a 2-couple final from Venice, couples 20 and 106. And in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115. This is E218 and Tango.
So the young lady from Powell, which is the instructor, she's the daughter of the owner, which is Pam.
oh, so a studio brat as well.
That's right. She's a studio brat too, and she's doing really great. She's really look at her career is
Very
taking
much
off.
so. You can tell there's just an innate comfort she has there.
Yeah.
And for all those watching, there are a few childhoods more fun than growing up in a ballroom studio.
Yeah.
I love how you can always see the Fort Walton Beach staff there with pom-poms, cheering,
Yeah.
all set
Yeah.
up.
They're really into it. It builds school spirit, studio spirit, and it builds and it makes the people that are competing and gives them confidence and eggs them on.
Well, at the same time, one thing I've learned growing up here is that even though we're competing sometimes against each other, it's always a positive build
The
each other up
Tango.
Yeah,
experience.
that's right.
Moving into Heat 219 for the Foxtrot. And our first event from Fort Walton Beach, 1 couple, couple 61. And our second event, a 2-couple final from Venice, couples 20 and 106. And in our final event from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115. Following Heat 220, we'll be going directly into our Smooth Multi-Dance Championships following Heat 220. This is Heat 219, Foxtrot.
Mrs. Kiss Kiss Bang, she's not a fool. Extraordinary and oh so cool. When I feel the touch of her sweet lips, I know this is a devil's kiss.
So there's Oleg.
We are
and-
back on screen now.
Is that Dr. Wu?
I believe it. Yes.
Yeah, it's Dr. Wu.
Dr. Wu.
She's everybody's dentist.
And I always make the Dr. Wu, Doctor Who jokes.
Yeah, and then she is from Fort Walton Beach, and she's the dancing dentist, and she dances with Oleg, he's a new gentleman that we have here from Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan, Dad.
Kazakhstan.
What kind of Italian are you?
Yeah, not one that's not from Kazakhstan. So one that can't pronounce Kazakhstan.
The
Kazakhstan.
Foxtrot.
Stop.
We're now moving to Heat 220 for the Viennese Waltz. 2 events on the floor. In our first event, a 2-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couples 41 and 61. And our second event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 108. Following this heat, we will be going into our Smooth Multi-Dance Championship, starting with Heat 221 will be next. Your places for the Viennese Waltz.
And I always love how in the starting positions, you can tell you practice them a lot. Even in the getting into frame, there's that practiced elegance everyone has.
Yeah.
And I was telling Steven this earlier. It really doesn't matter which studio you go to. There is an elemental quality in everything we do. You can go to any Fred Astaire across the country, and it might be a different environment, it might be different staff, but the one thing that is consistent is the consistent quality, which is what sets us apart from everybody, I
Yeah.
believe.
Well, and I think that comes from we're not. What we do is we teach the highest level of dancing, and people really don't understand it. So what we do is we actually teach competitive dancing. So in turn, competitive dance and social dancing is just a milder form of what you should do. So we push your body completely to the positive,
Viennese
to the
Waltz.
limits.
And thank you, couples. At this time, we are going to be moving into our Smooth Multi-Dance Championship division. We're going to invite 2 new judges for our championship division, Ms. Luann Pulliam and Mr. Stephen Knight.
Do you know that lady?
Knight?
We are moving into
Mr.
Heat
Pulliam,
221
Mrs.
for our Open
Oh,
Smooth
Mom.
Championship. We have 4 events on the floor. In our first event, we have a 2-couple final.
I was
From
zoned
Fort
out,
Walton
as I
Beach,
usually do
couple
in Mom's first
61,
one.
Sita and Roman. And from Mequon, couple 65, Kathleen and Vladislav. And our second event, 1 couple, couple 115, Ron and Martha. And in our final event, 1 couple from Venice, couple 20, Dottie and Sebastian.
So now we just added a couple judges. We have Luann Pulliam,
I've heard about her.
and then who's she to you?
We'll be dancing
she's
4
the-
dances for us tonight with your first dance of Heat 221, the waltz.
She's the person who, if I say anything negative, will come out here right now on this live
Snatch
stream
you up.
and pop me.
Then we have Stephen Knight,
We do.
which is Uncle Steve.
As you told me, yes, Miss Pulliam was, and I think is still one of the best dancers ever in history.
Yeah, she was. Because she could do all the styles. I mean, she could do smooth, rhythm, theatrical, jazz, everything.
Yes, indeed.
She wasn't, a one-trick pony, that's for sure. So anyway, what I was saying before is that what we do is we actually teach people the highest form of dancing. We take a completely different approach. We don't baby walk them up. What we do is we take them to the top and start bringing them the other way. So as they're learning something so much harder, what they really want to learn is if they really want to learn just social dancing, well, what happens is that it becomes easy.
Well, in some independent studios, you'll be taught as much as you.
The waltz. Your places, your second dance. And tango.
Well, as I was saying, and no disrespect to any independent studios, but there are some independents that will teach you as much as you need to know to keep coming back. Most of our teachers, or at least a great percentage of them, are actually ones that started out as students.
Yeah.
We train to make you a self-sufficient dancer.
Yeah, and that's one thing is this, and because there's good independent studios out there too.
There are
There's
undoubtedly
good
are.
independent studios out there too. The thing with our chain, basically is that we don't really differentiate between students and professionals.
No, we're going to
teach
treat you
everybody
and we're going to train
according
you.
to what their potential is. So it is not something that we kind of go. We just throw a pair of dice and see, this is how we teach.
No.
We teach everyone individually.
And that's why we have everyone here tonight, for instance, being taught individually to your own strengths and the way that you learn. It's what helps you actually grow as a dancer and the way you
The
see now.
tango.
They might differ the way they might look on her because of her age or whatever it might be. But one thing is this, she is going for it the same exact way as somebody that might be 20 years younger than her. So in turn, and what we do is, this is why we practice. This is why probably she comes in a lot, to get her muscle memory to start remembering, for the body to do it, not just her,
Absolutely.
but the body to do it.
I mean, we had a student, I think she was your first student, Frances Patrick, who came back into dancing at about 90, I believe, or 87. And she was the
87,
sweetest woman, had a little walker, everything. And while she couldn't dance for long periods of time at that point, when she came up for her actual rounds, she was still able to dance to a high quality for her age, for her
The
division, because she
foxtrot.
practiced as such.
I'll be right back.
And then there was one.
You having fun out there? There you go. We got your final dance coming up momentarily.
So we can't see you, but
You can
you
hear
can
us.
see us.
Like God.
From what I understand, thank God. Just as long as you can see me, it doesn't matter.
Yes, that's how we're going to put it.
He's my little sidekick right now. So
One day I'm going to put you in a very second-rate nursing home.
what?
Look at all
What?
the studios and their teams all
Love you,
cheering.
Papa.
We got some parties
Roman.
going on.
There's Roman drawing attention to himself, which
And
is
your places
that's the key
for
when
your
you
final
compete.
dance of
Oh,
Heat
wait.
221. The Viennese
Now,
Waltz.
what's the-
Wait,
that's
so when,
Venice.
wait. So when Roman does it, it's good. When I do it my entire life, I need to calm down.
You need to calm down.
Okay.
I need a haircut.
At least I have hair to cut. Now,
Now, we're talking to the lady from Venice.
yes, please continue.
Okay. Now you have to admire her. Look at that.
She moves incredibly well. She has a
Right.
full range of motion. And
Right.
I mean, look at that. She is absolutely keeping rhythm. She's
Right.
keeping grace. She has good body control. And
Yeah.
even right there in the reach out,
Yeah.
in the
I'm styling.
the arm styling.
Yeah, I'm you went blank there, B.
I usually do, because there is a dog in front of us right now.
Walter.
His name is Walter.
Walter, can you say hi?
The Viennese Waltz. And thank you, couples of Heat 221.
Come here, boy.
Oh,
We're
I
now
can
moving
see
into
that.
Heat 222 for our Open Smooth Championship.
I would have liked that.
We have 4 events on the floor. In our first event, we have a 2-couple final from Fort Walton Beach, couples 41 and 61. And our second event, 1 couple from Powell, couple 123. And our third event, a two-couple final from North Scottsdale, couple 105, and from Fort Walton Beach, couple 115. And in our final event, one couple from Mequon, couple 65. With your first dance, your places, and waltz.
And waltz.
Now, what's something you've noticed change about public perception about the smooth in the past 40 years?
Well, see, the thing is that I think it's turned into a dance, a body dance. It's not a foot dance anymore. Over the years, it just, what happens is that, but that's just goes to show about the technique changing, right? So it turned into more of a body dance, because body is what expresses music. Okay, body does, not feet. Feet just keep time to the tempo.
We have Christina Danucci saying, "Let's go, Powell." Yeah, Mike and Gabby. Good on them.
Let's go, Powell.
And then there's Janice Tribinari.
The waltz.
Okay, where was Janice Tribbiani?
I'm just trying to annoy you now.
Tribbiani.
I'm just trying to
That's a
annoy you
nice
now.
Jewish name. That's an
Moving
Italian
into your
name.
second dance.
Same company, different branch, Dad.
And tango.
Giving a
Tribbiani.
Janice giving a shout out to Renee. You're dancing beautifully. Yes, she is. And thank you for the comments. We need more of that.
So as we were saying, the thing is that, and people need to understand is this: the feet keep time to the music.
I remember you
the
telling me that.
body keeps time to the melody.
Yes,
So
you were
in-
you were telling me that exact same thing when we were watching Tommy Emmanuel play guitar and the bass and the rhythm.
Right.
And you
That's
told
right.
me all those
So the
elements.
melody of the song is what the things that's appealing. So the body demonstrates the melody of the music, and the feet keep tempo to get you across the floor. That's all it is, because percussion is not what you're hearing. The last thing you hear in the music is the doom, doom, doom. That's the percussion, the drum. What you're hearing is the strings, the piano,
The tango.
the trumpets.
Your places, your third dance. Foxtrot.
Who was the name of the man who you said made the foxtrot again?
Harry Fox.
Harry Fox, that was it.
And it was back in the 20s,
Harry Fox.
and it was called the Fox Trot. And what it was more of a Peabody. It trotted across the floor.
You know, I remember growing up and being, or are you testing me in the history of these dances? And I just remember thinking, does it really matter? I have homework from school.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that
But knowing it and knowing the origins of
Yeah,
it,
that's
becoming
right.
more intimate with the actual
you know,
knowledge of the dance.
see, most dances have started from folk dances, like say tango, started in Argentina as a folk dance,
Mm-hmm.
and then they picked up this some of the Latin dances. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry.
I love
Okay,
the
some of the
styling Ron
Latin
just did
dances
there.
were started
The
as like.
Foxtrot.
Hold on.
Following this next dance, we'll be moving into Heat 223. Heat 223 for the Open Smooth Championship will be next. And now for your final dance of Heat 222, the Viennese Waltz.
So every dance has started as a folk dance at one time or another. Every dance that we do, and folk dances actually came from whatever things that their cultures did, such as it's like like mambo
There's a
and stuff
samba,
like that.
then there was the
Well, like mambo, for example,
tango.
mambo, salsa. Those were these were started in the islands as knife fights between two people, and so in turn they turned that into a folk dance, and it became actually the mambo and the salsa and stuff like that.
We
You
have
know.
we have a quick shout out from my friend Amber. Go Ron and Renee, and Let's Go Martha. Love that, keep it up. And comments to my dad how good my hair looks. It would help.
He didn't say that.
No, I'm just,
Okay.
I'm asking. You've been saying it a lot lately.
No,
But,
your hair looks good. It just it would look good on the floor.
Vini's Waltz. And thank you, couples of Heat 222. We're now going to be moving into Heat 223 for our Open Smooth Championship.
What?
We have 4 events on the floor. In our first event in our B division, we have a 2-couple final from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60, and from Fort Walton Beach, couple 61. And our second event in our senior division from Venice, 1 couple, couple 106. And our third event in our amateur couple, couple 115 from Fort Walton Beach. And in our final event from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37. This is Heat 223. With your first dance and waltz.
Nothing. We just had Nick was just saying, hello, Christina, but he typed too fast and wrote, hello, creatina.
Who said that?
Nick. His mind was still on that run and was thinking about creatine.
Yeah.
Now, you were saying that the evolution, specifically in the smooth dances, has been that the more of the body's been incorporated. Because I remember growing up, people thinking that ballroom was the classic, just the waltz, just very stuffy, very old-fashioned. Whereas now, the perception has become much more aware of the fact that it is, for lack of a better word, very sexy.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, the thing is, what happens is that even when you're in a closed position, the way that you sway the body sways is a way of expressing emotion and expressing the melody of that song. So if you think about it, the arms do the same exact thing.
Waltz. And your second dance? Tango.
So if you think about it, look, so the arms conduct the music, just like the conductor does, right?
But the arms also come from more than just the arm. It's going, the movement starts from the ribs,
The
across
body,
the
the
shoulder.
body is just an extension of what the
Exactly.
body is moving, and that's how the arms finish it. So it's like a period, a period at the end of a sentence.
In fact, we had Anna at the seminar last week say the same thing. The movements in a dance are like the abbreviations in a sentence.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's the comma, there's the period, there's the exclamation point. And rounding about, there are some students who, when you explain it like that, they can actually get the better feel. Because as you said, we teach the students individually. I know you have told that you said
The tango. And now for your third dance. The foxtrot.
I know you told me that, well, I told everyone that your favorite song has been the favorite music. But out of every routine you've ever done, is there one particular routine, open, choreographed, whatever, that stands out in your mind as your, just as one that really stands out in your memories? Out of the thousands you've
The
danced.
thing is that, and I think that would have to. And there's a lot of them. I really couldn't pinpoint one of them, only because the ones that stay with you emotionally are the ones that really become your favorites. You know what I mean? So it's not something that you can say, okay, I like this one because I did 3 backflips and then I landed on my feet. You know what I mean? It's more of it's something that's hit you emotionally, then that becomes your favorite because it stays with you emotionally.
Indeed. We've got some very good comments from people.
The
No, we just have some silly comments from
Well,
people.
let me see.
We're going to meet our couples one more time from Pleasant Prairie, couple 60, Michelle and Patrick. From Fort Walton Beach, couple 61, Jean and Roman. From Venice, couple 106, Dan and Anelia. From Fort Walton Beach, couple 115, Ron and Martha. And from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37, Patty and Juan. For your final dance, the Viennese Waltz.
A little shout out to Janice Tribbiani. I love to see the amateur couples. It ain't easy. And then goes on to say, kind of like your husband trying to teach you how to play golf. Janice, I have to take a little issue. I don't know of a single husband that wants his wife to play golf with him. Very nice movements from our Dr. Wu.
We have a shout out from Donovan Shanahan. Go Pleasant Prairie Dance Studio, and good luck to everyone. And good luck and have a great time. And go Patrick, great job. Thank you, Donovan. I pass that on.
The Viennese Waltz. And thank you, couples of Heat 223. We're now going to be moving into Heat 224 for our Open Smooth Scholarship. In our first event, we have a two-couple final from Mequon, couple 65, Noel and Vladislav. And from Powell, couple 123, Michael and Gabrielle. And our second event, one couple in our C division from Fort Walton Beach, couple 41, Martha and Oleg. And in our final event, one couple from Lakewood Ranch, couple 37, Patty and Juan. And for your first dance, the waltz.
So the difference in this division here, if you heard the MC said that this is a scholarship. Okay, so a scholarship, what that means. Okay, so amateur dancers, obviously the professionals get paid, but the amateurs actually can't dance for money. So what they do is they dance for scholarships, and what they do is they will get like a check that's sent to their studio, to their prospective studio, and whoever wins or places, they could turn it into lessons, they can turn it into whatever. So, but they can turn it mostly into lessons from a dance studio. So that's where the scholarship division comes in. But in a sense, every single dance that they're doing, if they place first, second, or third, they get many scholarships, which they're actually like $3 for first place, second $2, and what they do is they turn that into
it goes all the way towards
the wall.
furthering the education
to
of
dancing. That's right.
And for your second dance, the tango.
Where? Which one? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, like Martha, for instance, she actually, it's a little ongoing joke. She was not originally from Palm Beach, and whenever her and Ron travel, they go to
Texas.
They go to Texas and they go to the studios there. So they actually get a much wider coaching and teaching. And of course, with me, I always joke with them, saying, "Oh, I thought you'd be at your other studio with your other teachers." Now, the joke's ongoing, but one thing I do love is that in our industry, you actually can do that. You can go to a different studio, schedule a lesson, you give a call, and you, no matter where you are in the U.S. or overseas, you can just walk in, and it's not like you're going into a different place. You're still amongst, family and people you know.
The tango.
And that elegant, exquisitely made bow.
And for your third dance, the foxtrot.
So if you notice too, this in the scholarship division and the championship division, they have to do the dances back to back. It's not a single dance. So actually, those 3 entry dances become one dance. And so, and also too, what that does is that it works on their stamina. You know, because actually having to do 3 dances in a row, it's not a.
Well, I'll tell you this: from what I've seen my entire life, dancers have more stamina than any other athlete.
Yeah.
I've seen all of our professionals and most of our students dance from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night, then go to the pro rehearsal till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Get up
Yeah.
at 6 to help everyone with that for 5 days straight. So
Yeah, no, the stamina part of it, the exercise part of it is
The
amazing.
Foxtrot. And thank you to couple 37. And now moving into the final dance of Heat 224. Your places and the Viennese Waltz.
I believe it is called Vietnamese waltz.
Viennese waltz.
Oh, don't
The
hit me.
difference between Vienna
Yes,
and
I know.
Vietnam.
I know. I just
Vienna's over
I just
there
can't
in
believe
Europe.
that-
Vietnam is in
I just
Southeast
can't believe
Asia.
that- I just keep hearing Uncle Gates say Vietnamese waltz. But notice how, especially with Martha Noleg, in the Viennese, how you have to move across the floor. You have to have such grace, but you also have to have power in each step. It's one of my favorites simply because all those elements have to come together perfectly. You can't just be running. You can't just make it overly smooth or else you lose the timing. It's I mean, as you can see from anyone here, it just has that unique quality of all those 3 elements: speed, precision, power, all of them coming together.
Right.
The Viennese Waltz. And thank you, couples, and thank you, judges. That is going to conclude tonight's presentation of our virtual
And we will see
international
you
championship
tomorrow.
smooth and scholarship divisions. We will be coming back tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Central with our rhythm division. So we hope you had a great time, and we'll see you tomorrow. Be safe and good night.
Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.